Right, everyone, welcome back to the Par 4 or Par 3 podcast. I'm not sure on the name. Presented by Golf Magic. Myself, William Ward, and Johnny Percival are back to talk about all things golf. Today, we are going to talk about Bryson Dechambeau, Golf Jesus for us at Golf Magic now. He has risen from the dead, and he has kind of taken all of our hearts at the PGA Championship, and I think will continue to do so. And then we're going to talk about golf clubs. What's happening with golf clubs in general? Are they getting better for 2024 and onwards? Then we're going to talk about our golf games as well, and if they can help you guys out or your wonderful listeners for the rest of the year. Will, how are you doing on this wonderful Wednesday morning?
I am doing very well, thank you, Ali. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm looking forward to chatting with you boys, like I do every week. It's going to be a good little chat, I think.
Happy days. Johnny, how are you doing as well? Do you echo the same thoughts that William has?
I'm not too bad. Also looking forward to having a nice little chat with you guys. It was a good week of PGA Championship golf. Watched almost every single second of it, which is always nice. Managed to get out for a couple of holes as well at my local course. So, plenty to unpack. I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Good stuff. Well, we'll just touch a little bit on the PGA Championship. We are a little bit late to the podcast party for that, so I will briefly just go over just how incredible it was with Xander Schauffele and the likes of others as well. We are going to really just go in on Bryson DeChambeau though, because we know Xander did very well at what was a very easy PGA Championship. Not saying he's done badly there at all, but it was a very low scoring tournament, the lowest scoring tournament in history for the PGA Championship by 250 shots. Bryson, though, we've now seen him come tied 6th and tied 2nd, I believe it is, or 2nd alone at the PGA Championship. His major form is now becoming impeccable. He is now up to 35th in the world after his 2 strong showings. But the main thing that I think I saw of him over this tournament is he is now the people's champ, almost, at Valhalla in Kentucky. He was the person being egged on to win by the crowd. Now, we've got Xander Schauffele, who I still think is one of the people's favourites as well. But people wanted Bryson, I think, to win in person more than Xander Schauffele. Bryson is well loved by everyone here at Golf Magic. Will, give me your thoughts on him last week. What did you see from Bryson? Are you in the similar mindset that I am, that he is now maybe the most entertaining golfer in the world?
Yeah, I mean, he played absolutely out of his boots on Sunday, and he was so much fun to watch. I think people are even calling him the man of the people. There was even a stage, I think he was walking towards the 9th or 10th, gave his ball to what he thought was a child, and then a guy gets involved and nabs the ball, and he's like, "Hey, you get that back!" He gets proper in the face, right? Mm-hmm. And then I thought Bryson as a whole, I love him. I think he's a great guy. He's, as in Johnny's words, put on an absolute clinic on Sunday. And I only thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna really take home the dub. Saw him on the range, obviously watching Xander putt in for the last hole, put it in the birdie, 21 under. So unfortunately, but then he still the respect he gave to Xander as he was walking off the green on the 18th. I think he's just a lovely bloke. He really is. I think he's definitely won the hearts of a lot of people, because before people were a bit unsure on him because he had maybe his ego or something from a few years back, but how he plays now, and I think even one of the commentators were like, "Oh, the way he was hitting it was I think everyone's going to want 3D printed irons now." So there's a conversation to have. But no, he was. He's just so much fun to watch. It's a shame we won't be able to see him this week, on the PGA Tour. But it's good to have him back for the majors.
100%. I mean, I did see an article by another media company saying golf needs Bryson back after the PGA Championship. I felt like that was a little bit we do have him back. We have him at LIV. Does he need to be on the PGA Tour? I'm not sure. I do think he is now the person really carrying that LIV flag in terms of entertainment, just because watching him, I think we all forget that he is 190 to 196 ball speed on tour now on LIV Golf. We saw that at the PGA Championship, so he's pretty incredible. Johnny, what did you think? Because I know you watched every single second of the PGA Championship. Were you as infatuated by Bryson's game as we were?
Yeah, I was, and Bryson's been quite a polarizing figure, I think, in the world of golf for quite a while. He's been a bit of a Marmite man, and I'll admit myself, I used to find him quite annoying and quite frustrating.
Yep.
I think switching hat has made a massive difference, as stupid as that may sound, but he's got rid of that like flat cap. I way prefer him now with a normal cap. I also think his social media content is absolutely spot on. I think he comes across really, really well in it, and that's endeared him to quite a few people. Like you kind of almost get to know him better than what you just see in interviews and stuff. Obviously, he didn't do himself a massive favour saying that Augusta was a par 58 or whatever he said it was. But I think he is. I've mentioned this before that kind of live. When a lot of players left to live, they took kind of a lot of the best characters the PGA Tour had. Maybe not necessarily all the best players, but a lot of the best characters. And I think Bryson 100% falls into that category. So seeing him out there at the PGA, I thought was really refreshing. And I agree. Like I thought he came across so well. His golf was epic. He was interacting with the fans. He seems to take himself a little bit less seriously now than he was before. I think getting that kind of US Open win, he proved his point after he bulked up, and he's now trimmed down a bit, but he's still absolutely whacking it.
Yeah.
He is just an entertaining guy to watch. He's kind of unconventional. His clubs are a bit weird. His putting stroke's a bit weird. His driver's strange. 3D printed irons. Like he's an interesting guy to watch and to follow. And I think he's a massive loss for the PGA Tour.
Yeah. I think that I would like to see him back, and I think this is now pushing that kind of PIF allegiance argument even more because, like, I think the notion of entertaining, people can say, oh, Scotty's the most entertaining, he's just bullets straight every single time. But when Bryson came out, I believe he came out and said he didn't have his A game for the PGA Championship. I think he said he had his B game. He was kind of missing it a little bit with his driver.
He was like A+ putting, A+ chipping, A irons, and like B off the tee.
Right. Okay.
Which is
driver was driver was It just wasn't hitting fairways, and I find that more entertaining because I actually had forgotten how far Bryson hits it. As you said, I know when he was an absolute when he was a beefcake. I was obviously everyone remembered that he was like 200 mile an hour ball speed. I thought he was actually now down to about Rory's level, but he's actually about 3 or 4 mile an hour faster than Rory. He's very easily. We saw. I think he was the top of the leaderboard in driving distance for PGA Championship by a good few yards. He is an absolute beast for that. But what you said there, Johnny, about his like, sorry,
the lucky break he had off the tree, like
out of the trees. Yeah, that was a stroke.
That was rather lucky. And to be honest, I wanted him to win. I really wanted him to win. I do genuinely think if Xander had missed that putt on 18, Bryson would have stormed it. Just looking at that, I don't think that was the most confident putt in the world from Xander. But yeah, as you said, Johnny, I really do think Bryson is needed more to be kind of like shown a little bit more on the professional golf tours. I know he's on Live, but people don't really watch that as much, the PGA Tour. So I'm really excited for Pinehurst for the US Open. I think that'll be an absolute killer because of just how cool the course is. And obviously Bryson has won the US Open already. So that'll be a really entertaining watch. I mean, in terms of entertaining players in golf, Will, who do you think comes in second?
Good question. I mean, you think I'm going to say Colin? Unfortunately, I will not be saying Colin.
Yeah, your boy's on a good run. I mean,
I know he's on a good run, but I mean,
not hold a birdie putt on Sunday.
You cannot win tournaments just getting pars. Like it's obviously a lovely scorecard, but that's a really good question. I mean, it's nice to see. I mean, even like the likes of I thought Justin Rose was absolutely killing it at the weekend. Like watching him just play, I was like, what the hell? Like, come on, Rosie, come on, boy.
It's quite nice seeing him and Bob Mack reunited as well, and they were like both all right.
But yeah, no, I think it's. I think Bryson's up there he is one of the most entertaining people to watch. So it's quite difficult to get someone as close to his caliber, in my opinion. But again, like Victor Hovland, it was nice for him to, because I think he wasn't even going to play or something. He was unsure because of his game. And yeah, I mean, he was performing very well. There's a lot of people on there because I think coming into the last day, looking at the leaderboard, there was a lot of high like names on there, and it was a really kind of interesting last day, and it was a lot of fun to watch. So, yeah, I don't know what you guys think of like the second most entertaining person would be. Like,
Johnny?
I'm all ears.
I think when he was on the PGA Tour, I used to love watching Jon Rahm play.
Really?
Just because he was so aggressive, like didn't really have a weakness in his game, but kind of I'd say showed a bit more emotion than Scheffler. He had a bit more of that kind of Tiger mentality. I thought when he was playing really well, he would just try and kind of obliterate people into the ground. So I used to love watching Rahm play, and obviously since in the majors this year, he's kind of been a non-feature. I mean, Spieth's great to watch. Like. He's just so chaotic. You kind of never really know quite what you're going to get. It's very much edge of your seat stuff. So I'd put those two probably just behind Bryson. Tiger was obviously there, but I find watching Tiger now just quite sad.
Thigala.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Thigala just knocks it anywhere off the tee, but he's
awesome. Like, no, I love that guy so much.
Cool. And I mean, Hovland is my favourite player on the PGA Tour, so I guess I got to give him a shout. When he's playing his best stuff, he's great to watch.
Hovland when he's hot.
But I think Bryson's so interesting just because he's so unconventional, and he's just a bit weird, isn't he?
Yeah,
but he seems like a really nice guy. It's mad to think that he's probably the only player who's gained popularity on the PGA Tour having gone to live. I would say that's a pretty safe bet. He's a lot of people I speak to say, you know what, I actually quite like Bryson now. Like the social content he's putting out is really good, and he seems to be coming across really well. He's playing well. So I think kind of kudos to him, and also he's been one of the biggest kind of advocates of like the merger. He's one of the ones on Live that says, we do need to unify the men's game. So I kind of respect him for that as well.
Yeah, I think he still draws some criticism every now and again when he does quote some things about Live and the PGA Tour and the OWGR, but that's what anyone at Live's going to say, really. He was one of the first boys to kind of join Live, and he has become one of those advocates for it. So I kind of understand that, but as you said, I think what we're able to see, which is quite different to a lot of other golfers on the PGA Tour and Live Tour, is we get to see behind the scenes in his life. Like, I think if anyone did that kind of YouTube channel that he's doing, we saw behind the scenes of 18 holes at a tournament, etc., etc., you'd fall in love with them. Like, imagine if Victor Hovland did that or something like that. We'd be able to see an insight into who they really are. I think genuinely, if Bryson didn't do that YouTube channel, he probably wouldn't be as well liked as he is now, because we're actually able to see him talk to the camera. We're actually able to see his true personality, whereas before his personality was walking into ropes and acting like he got shot, and and just
my god,
come on, guys.
It wasn't really he didn't have the right.
Yeah, that was a bad moment for him, wasn't it?
That was almost made an edit of that with really emotional music, and he's he's on one knee, and then he grabs the towel and he's like, shit. It's like, bro, it's a rope. Like everyone's there, everyone's watching around him like, God, what's happened? And he's there like, oh my god.
He didn't hold himself very well in that regard, did he? But he's good now, and that's what I really enjoy about him. I mean, I would welcome anyone who's either watching on YouTube or listening. Go to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Let us know what you think of Bryson now in 2024. Has your opinion changed? Is he golf Jesus, like we've said? Has he come back from the dead? I think he may have done just a little bit. Johnny, I'm going to touch upon what you said there, as it's quite a good transition into our next point. Bryson uses some absolutely bonkers equipment. I mean, he's got a crank driver. I believe he's still got a mini driver, one length by a Voda Golf, 3D printed irons with bulge roll, which is what you see on drivers, not irons. Had to be approved by the RNA just before the Masters, I believe it was. And he uses a arm lock putter as well. Everything he uses is unorthodox, but it works. The only thing is, how much does it work? To what degree does it work? If everyone was using it, does that shirt work? So is just Bryson just a little bit of a nerd? I'm not too sure. But he is someone who experiments a lot with his golf equipment. But I feel like all three of us in this podcast, we all experiment with our golf equipment too much. We all are a little bit loose to changing golf clubs. We talk very regularly. And I think I'm the worst. I do say I'm going to change irons.
Yeah, I was about
every
to
single
say.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Hi guys, I've got these new clubs I'm going to have for 6 months next week. Hi guys, I've got new clubs I'm going to have for 6 months.
It'll make a great video. That's all I care about. But we change a lot. I change a lot. And Will's just kind of dipping his toes into it, changing a little bit. He wants a G430 Max 10K off me in the next few weeks because he hit one good shot at Custom Golf Works and now thinks it's the messiah of golf clubs. Which, I mean, I will say, I think it probably is.
I'll be bombing like
It's a good club, and I mean, and Johnny, you kind of changed somewhat, and I think you're a little bit more conservative in this group. Would you say?
I kind of made a big change at the beginning of the year with the woods. I've had the same irons for about 4 years.
Yeah.
It's where I tend to really tinker is putter. But
Yes,
having said that, I think I found the putter for me now, and I got some new wedges, and I hadn't changed my wedges in about 4 years. So
Hey.
I like to settle. I've settled. I'm not going to be changing
Lovely,
anything.
lovely.
I don't think for the next until January, whenever all the new stuff comes out.
We'll see. Well, we do change a lot, and the one thing that I think a lot of consumers, and ourselves included, want to see when you change is an improvement in performance. Now, a lot of brands, Callaway, TaylorMade, Cobra, they will release clubs on a yearly cycle. We have other brands such as Titleist and Ping and Strixon, which are on a 2-year cycle. And a lot of people will say with those 1-year cycles, how can you see an improvement year on year? Like, how much improvement are you seeing year on year with these wonderful golf clubs to see it all? So, what I'm going to ask you, Johnny, I'm going to fire to you first. Because you've worked in a lot of golf clubs. You've tried a lot of golf clubs. Year on year, how do you think?
Yeah.
Talk to me like I'm a consumer. How are golf clubs getting better?
Well, I think the year just gone by was actually quite a landmark year for golf club improvement, especially in drivers.
Yep.
The introduction of like 10K MOI, as we've seen from the QI10 Max and the G430 10K, like we have actually seen visible positive results in terms of offline dispersion, ball speed being retained from across the face. So I think that is a kind of one of the better examples of how clubs can improve year on year quite dramatically. Having said that, I'm sure we've also seen years, and I know we've also seen years where the difference has been like so marginal, you'd argue not even worth changing or upgrading. If you owned a driver from 5 years before, maybe, but if you had the one from the year before, absolutely no point because there's no difference. So I think there are obviously times when innovations come in that do change things quite a bit. I mean, we've seen, Alex, obviously we tested the new Cobra limited 3D printed irons, which are like the body of a blade, the forgiveness of a game improvement iron. Like that is a huge step forward in what is achievable in like golf club tech. So when I mean, there was only 500 sets of those made, so it's probably not a great example for the wider consumer. But when that tech starts getting put into commercially purchasable irons, like on a wider scale anyway, like that I think will make a massive difference because that has completely changed the way that the clubs are made. But I think it's fair to say, and we're not trying to pull like wool over people's eyes, year on year difference tends to be fairly minimal, and in some cases none at all.
I think, as you said there, it's what brands look at when they're doing things year on year is they're not actually looking that much. Although from the marketing point of view, for instance, Callaway this year said that you're gaining, I think it's an average of like 7 to 12 yards across the face of their new AI Smoke to previous years. They're looking at people into the life cycle about 4 to 5 years. People don't change. There are people who are mental who will change driver every single year. We are one of them. But for people, usually the average is every 4 or 5 years. So I believe every 4 or 5 years now you're looking at, what is that? Probably the first sim, maybe going into the M6 if you're tailor-made to QI10. That is actually quite a big difference when you're looking at the MOI. That being said, we are kind of focusing here on the metalwoods. So, Will, I'm going to come to you here because I think you're actually a really good example, having now dipped your toes into the club scene. And I believe you have the TaylorMade M4 irons. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got the TaylorMade M4 irons, and then my driver I used to have was the original Sim Max.
Okay, so I'm not too... I guess touch on both for me, but start on the irons, because I know you tested out the new QI irons, you tested out the Cobra Dark Speed irons,
Yes,
your absolute favourite. The M4s, what are the differences that you can see with the M4s that you have now and the other irons that you've tested over the last 6 months or so?
Yeah, so, well, actually, if I talk about the irons I had before I got the M4s, so I've got the M4s only last year, I believe. But before then, I had some like Lynx Predator irons, which I don't think were right for me. It was kind of, as I was getting into golf, I was like, it was a cheap set during COVID. I was like, cool, I'll grab these. And then I went to the M4s and I was like, they were so much lighter and game improvement compared to the Lynx Predators. And I was like, oh my God, these are like amazing. But then fast forward to now, I was trying out the QIs and the AI smokes. And yeah, I feel like, I don't know if there's a huge difference between the M4s and what I'm currently gaming. Like in terms of down at address, I prefer to look at them down at address definitely, and they obviously shelf appeal. But the way they hit, it's difficult to really say, especially of someone of my skill level. It's like if I said to you, Alex, it's a good point you made that Johnny made, that year on year there's very minimal difference between the iterations of clubs, and obviously you get fit, Alex, every year for different irons or whatever. Do you really see much of a difference between last year's and this year's when you get fit? Like, I can imagine on camera, it's like, oh my God, these are the best things ever. But like, when you're actually the actual physical hitting them, is there really much difference? Like, obviously it's nowhere near worth upgrading, is it? It's like, you get told to come along to a fitting, there's clearly no more difference between the two versions, right?
Good question. I mean,
Stop revealing industry secrets, Will.
Yeah. Good question. They're big difference, 20 yards. No, so look, let's be honest here, because as I said, like, I genuinely think your M4s compared to the QIs, I think there's a big difference there. When I go to a fitting, I'm trying to think of the fittings that I've been to. The fittings I've been to have been quite interesting, because when we go to a fitting as, I think, media partners, they don't necessarily go, okay, let's compare it that much to your old driver.
Yeah.
Usually my old driver will be 3 weeks old or something along those lines. I will not have a driver like a Rocket Balls or something like that. So they'll probably just try and get the most optimal things possible. That being said, I sometimes don't have the most optimal things in my bag. I sometimes will just be playing about with a massive grip or something like that. When I've done iron fittings, and irons are quite different here, and you can see that by the likes of Lexi Thompson having a set of irons that are 10 years old in their bag, one of the best ball strikers on the planet. Michael Block, one of the best players in the world, he has a 2014 set of irons. You will see players not being that... they don't be that bothered to change irons, because irons are somewhat similar. As you said there, Will, it's more, I think, about the confidence you see at address. Like, I am more someone who wants to know it's correctly fitted for me and like how it looks down at address, because then everyone will get confident. That being said, I think one thing that brands will always benefit from, and I've seen this, if you let's say 4 years ago bought a set of irons, and now next month you go get fitted for a set of irons, you will see an improvement. That is because over 4 years' time, we are not pros, your swings change. Johnny, has your swing changed in 4 years?
Completely, yeah.
Absolutely. My swing in 4 years has changed from being about 4 degrees in to out to about 2 degrees out to in. That will require a completely different shaft, completely different driver as well. It will be very, very different. So what brands always benefit from, if they go for a really good fitting, is you'll see an improvement. It might not be head, but it'll be the exact spec alone. Irons, I don't think are that big of a deal. I love testing irons, I think probably as much as I love testing drivers, because they all feel quite different. There's a lot of dark horses in terms of brands, which we'll get onto in a second. But the main thing I think I notice a difference with is drivers. As Johnny said, the 10,000 MOI thing is bloody massive. What's quite interesting is Titleist. You know, the TSR3 is like 4,000 MOI.
Really?
And it is one of the most played drivers on the PGA Tour. So, as you said, MOI isn't everything, but it is to a lot of us who are hackers who hit it all over the face.
Driver, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree with me this one, Alex, as well, is the head is arguably as important as the shaft. Driver shaft can make a world of difference to any number of different golfers.
Yeah.
That's the biggest improvement I've seen in driving distance in the last 5 years of my career, was when I changed into an extra stiff shaft that was slightly heavier, the QI, and I was starting, compared to my Ping G410, I was hitting it like 20 yards further. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. I mean, it's what
obviously the head helps as well, but I think the shaft made a massive.
Putting it all together, you can make an absolute beast, can't you? And this is what I think a lot of people forget. And I've got a lot of friends who are like this. A lot of people who are members at my golf club who are quite similar to this. And I think because we are in a wonderful situation where we can get fitted quite regularly, the concept of fitting, of having the grip, the shaft, the head, for me is more important than getting a new up-to-date driver, because you can have something that is built for you. If you have a driver or irons that's 2 years old, it will still be a really good driver for you. Yeah, I see a lot of people actually. I'm trying to think of an example. Someone at my golf club, because golf clubs are so bloody expensive, they're like, "Oh, I went and bought this Cobra Speed Zone driver for £179 off eBay. It's such a good deal." And I'm like, "That is a good deal. What's the shaft?" And he's like, "I don't know." Okay, right. This bloke really swings it about 110. I'm looking at the shaft. It's like a Motor F160S. I was like, and it's 10.5 degrees. I'm like, oh my god, okay. And he hits a really nice fade that spins about 4,000 and goes about 240 yards. He should be able to pump it about 290. It goes straight, but I'm like, if this guy went for a fitting, he could be pumping it 290, 300 yards. If he got the correct Cobra Speed Zone, he could get it 300 yards. I think people will always underestimate the power of a fitting, because the fitting will always mean you've got to spend an absolute wedge. And I think this is why brands are, I wouldn't say brands are stuck between a rock and a hard place, but I would say consumers, like your everyday golfer, if they're, let's say, looking at their flight and someone's like, you could probably get more out of that, you swing it quite fast, their only option is to spend £600 on a driver and a custom shaft. If someone goes to them in a fitting, let's say, Johnny, let's say you went to that fitting there, you had that fitting in person over at somewhere, and they went, "Oh, okay, Johnny, you can gain 20 yards here from that driver to that driver. I'll be £600, please, because it's an aftermarket shaft, and it's also the new QI10 driver." A lot of people are looking at that being like, holy shit, that's a month's rent. I'll do that, but I'll just eat bread for the next month. Is it worth it? I think because golf clubs have now gone all the way up to be so expensive, with custom fittings, good custom fittings also costing a bit of money, is it worth it? What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. I would love to have an actual fitting done for me. I've never actually had that opportunity to really have that conversation with a fitter. Watching videos where Alex gets fit, you have what you're going to say to them, and your conversation with them would be very different to someone that I would have a conversation with. But I think, as we always say, we're an advocate. We always say that getting fitted is important. But yeah, it's all down to how much you play golf. It's not going to be worth getting fit for new clubs, if you're like a casual golfer that you play once every other week or something. But a fitting could really help with your ball striking, your distance, and how you get it up the fairway. I mean, I think it's important, but it all depends, I think, on how much you really play golf and how much you're into the game. If you really should consider it as an option, because like you said, it's clubs these days. I mean, what's the Ping, the head alone? Is what, £600?
Yeah, I mean the head of the standard shaft it will be is 599ish, yeah, which is just
so you can, and then that shaft is probably not going to be for everyone. depending on how you swing it. And then
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
It's insane. So if you have the opportunity to, I know a lot of clubs do like free fittings just to get an idea. I know when the QI range came out, my local golf club were doing a free fitting of the QI irons and the QI 10 drivers just to kind of go along, get a feel for what it's like to hit it. And you're not like obligated to buy anything. It's just a free fitting. Like a lot of places do it. So I reckon if it's something that you're really into, you look around for these free fitting things, just to have a go and have a little whack, see what it's all about. And then if it's something you really want to consider long term, then that's down to you, personally.
It's funny that you say that, because I mean, what I think about those free fit, some of those free fittings are good, but I'm not going to mention the brand or the course that we were at. But we were at a course that they're filming, and they were doing a free fitting, and this range is awful that we're at. Okay, it's like 70% compression range balls. It's uphill. Like, it's not a range you want to get fitted on either. Even if it's a driver, it's an iron or anything like that. And I was looking. I said to the guy, even though they've got a track now which normalises it, it's not the same as using properly like good Pro V1s, things like that. I think the difference between, as you say, if you want to get a feel for it and try a QI10 and try something like that and be like, oh, okay, this could be the one for me. I'm gonna go look around. Oh, I've actually hit that pretty well with the standard Velocore Blue shaft or something like that. That could work for me. But I wouldn't compare those to a proper fitting like the ones that you get at, let's say, Custom Golf Works, Precision Golf, True Spec Studio, Club Champion, where you're there with a GC quad with proper golf balls, seeing the numbers. When they're, let's say, they're not saying, oh, we're not going to give you, we'll give you a stiff shaft. They're going to give you, okay, we're going in Aventus Blue 6X TR. We're going to tip it an inch. We're going to look at what the lie angle is, stuff like that. They'll go into the detail for it. But as you said there, Will, which I think is quite a good point, there's kind of a spectrum here as to what you can do. If anyone tells me they've went to eBay or anywhere and I've bought this driver, I'll give them a slap around the face and say, don't do that. You're probably making your golf game worse. If they're going and trying it out at this free fitting, then happy days. You're getting a kind of feel for it. It'll probably be a good driver for you. Might not be 10 out of 10, but it'll be 9 out of 10. If you really want to find the best driver for you, this is when you go for those really specific fittings, such as Custom Golf Works, Precision Golf, maybe one of the really good fitting days, buy a fitting day that you can do for a few £100, and that's when you can get a really, really good set, a driver or something that you know will be fit for you. But the difficulty with spending a wedge is that our swings change, and I will always have that kind of thought in my mind. We're lucky enough to be fitted quite regularly. But I will always have that thought in my mind. If I get fitted this year, I'm like, next year. Like last year, I got fit for, about a year and a half ago, for a brand. I got fit for Ventus Black 7X, tipped an inch, with a really low spin driver. I can now not hit that at all. It just does not work for me. I hit little toey slices with 4,000 spin. Now, in the Ping G430 Max 10K, I use a Ventus Blue 6X tipped an inch. Spins well. I can hit a draw with it. Happy days. People will always underestimate how much shafts and stuff like that make a difference. Johnny, I'm going to come to you here just to finish this little bit off. What's in your bag right now? Just so we can clarify to everyone what we are currently using. Because there is a bit of an array of stuff, isn't there?
There is a bit of an array of stuff. So I've got a TaylorMade QI10 driver with a extra stiff shaft in 75 grams. I won't go through the shafts of all of my clubs, but I've got the TaylorMade QI10 Max 3 wood and hybrid. They're both in stiff. And then I've got a Titleist U505 driving iron, 4 iron actually, because I used to never be able to hit 4 iron and I switched to this, and it's just like, it's basically a kind of crossover hybrid iron club that I just love. Super forgiving, super easy to hit, graphite shaft. And then I've got TaylorMade P790s from 2021, I want to say, I think was when they first came out, maybe 2022. From 5 iron to pitching wedge. And then I've got the new Ping S159 wedges in 50, 54, 58. The S-Grind and a Odyssey Jailbird Cruiser putter, which is my new favourite club in the bag, although I did miss 2 1-foot putts at Mitcham last week. So I think that was more of a lapse of concentration than the putter itself. But that is my full bag. And in terms of golf ball, I'm playing a Chrome Tour at the moment, triple track.
Ooh, lovely. Okay, I like that. You missed
Good edition.
putts.
Yeah, I was. You know what it was? It was one of those where when you just literally walk up to it and just try and just tap it in.
Right.
And they both of them did like full 360s at the hole and basically ended up back at me, and I was just like, oh, that's well annoying. But so I'm trying the Chrome Tour triple track. I like the triple track. I like the alignment aids on it, and the ball itself is proving pretty good. My favorite ball is the Titleist AVX, but they're just they're expensive.
They are indeed.
As are the Chrome Tours, but thankfully you gave me a load for free, so I'm just using them at the moment.
I did. We have a fair few of those. They're very good balls. Well, let's go on to your bag, because you've got quite a little bit of a mix and match from past.
So as we all know, I'm a massive TaylorMade fanboy, but I've kind of gone the other way. So from
Cheating.
the top, I've got QI10 Max driver with a stiff shaft, I believe. Do not tell me how much it weighs, because I have no idea. All I know is it's a hazardous smoke one. So then we've got the Callaway Ice Smoke 3 wood with a stiff shaft, as well as I was toying between. I'm toying up between using the AI Smoke Hybrid or the 5 wood at the moment. I'm just trying to see which one I feel more confident using for different scenarios. At the moment, I've got the 5 wood in my bag, but I feel like I may go back to the hybrid just to test it out, just to see what works best. And then in terms of irons, I've got the new AI Smoke game improvement irons, from 4-iron through to pitching wedge. Thankfully, Alex found the 7-iron for me, which has been an absolute dream. Then wedges, we've got the TaylorMade MG4s, 50, 54 and 58. I believe that's the same degrees you've got in yours, Johnny. Good lad. I was actually chipping it very well last weekend around the greens, which is not something I normally say, because my chipping's awful, my short game's awful. But I've got this new technique where you kind of tuck under the armpit and then up nice and smooth and slow, and it seems to it seems to work really well. So I've got that, and then the Spider Putter Tour. I want to say Tour X. Yeah, maybe the X. I did have the Reserve, but I prefer the. Is it the Tour X?
I think it's like the Tour V or Tour something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, something.
One of those.
Yeah, but it's got that nice chunky thick grip, which I really like for putting, although it was very cold last weekend, so maybe that's something to do with it. And in terms of ball, I mean, I'm at the level where give me any ball and it won't really make a difference how I hit. I've been using the new Speed Ink, whatever they're called, from TaylorMade. They're really cool balls. Really like them. I think they're really cool. But I mix up between that and the Callaway Chrome Tour. And
nice.
Pretty much my bag. But I'm keen to give the old ping a whack. Should Alex let me have it? So
I know. You're gonna try it from his dead hands.
No. You are more than welcome, sir. I will. I'll quickly shoot through my bag. I'll actually do driver last.
Let's go from the top. Okay.
Well, just go to the top. Mini driver. I've got the Burner Mini in there right now. 13.5, lofted up to 14. It's good. It's really good. It's just I'm struggling a little bit with the face control. I finally learned how to hit it after some sessions with actually filming with Jozza as well. It is a bit of a beast. Just not yet a fairway finder. That is staying in my bag. I've got a gap from there actually. I need to find out if I want to use a 7 wood or like a 2-iron. It probably will be a 7 wood. And I've got a Ping G430 7 woods, but it's got the wrong grip on there right now. That's probably the one that's in my bag. And then I go to my irons, which is the Mizuno Pro 243, not 241s, but I've got those Axiom 105X shafts, which are tipped an inch. Did have the Jumbo Max grips on them. Can't use them anymore because it hurts my thumb. So I've got some smaller Ripper grips on them. Don't judge me. And then we go on to the Vokey SM10s. I think best wedges in the game by quite some considerable distance. I've got 50, 54, and then 60 as it gaps better. I think I've got like 2F grinds and a D grind, about 8 to 10 degrees of bounce. Pretty normal. Still can't get out of bunkers with those, but that's a pilot error rather than the wedges. And then putter, I've got the Lab DF3, which I really like. I did actually really like the Jailbird as well, but I am putting very well with the DF3, so it would be rather stupid for me to.
I will admit.
Yes, it'd be stupid for me to change, despite that little voice in the back of my head being like, "Go on, do it," but not yet, not yet.
Yeah,
And actually,
I
was using the AVX for a while, and I'm also now using the Chrome Tour. Started using that a few weeks ago. I prefer how it feels around the greens. I think I get a little bit more optimal spin with my driver for it, and it's a little bit faster than the AVX personally. So really good.
Shout out Callaway.
I know they're smashing it. I mean, Xander and all of us are we're bombing it right now. Driver.
I find we're all using Chrome Tour. How weird.
I know. I actually quite like the feel of the Chrome Tour X, but the Chrome Tour performs a little bit better for me because my problem is high spin. The Chrome Tour X will be a wee bit faster, like half a mile, but the Chrome Tour will go further because it doesn't spin as much. Driver was the Pingy 430 Max 10K. Might be giving that to Will. Last week I put in the bag a Callaway AI Smoke Max D. So a slightly draw biased driver, and at 10.5 lofted down to 9.5. I would imagine I probably need a 9 lofted down to 8 because just to get the spin down a little bit. But I hit 4 shots with it off the tee. They were all very good. There was one unfortunately, I absolutely bombed it into the trees. Did overdraw it slightly, which I think is why I need that 9 degree D lofted. But I was pretty impressed by that. Was with someone who works for Callaway as well. A few people on tour are actually using the Max D. My speed, a lot of fitters would probably put me straight into Triple Diamond. Don't really like how the Triple Diamond looks. It looks quite open, neutral bias, fade bias even, and I slap it to the moon off the right. So we've got some interesting bags there. Again, if you are watching, if you are listening, let us know on all our socials what's in your bag right now and what you think about golf clubs in 2024. Are they getting better? Are you seeing notable improvements? Is custom fitting the answer? Let us know. We're coming up to the end here. We're going to go through our birdies and bogeys of the week, either the week gone or the week past. So, Will, I'm going to come to you first. What are your birdies and bogeys of the week gone and the week coming up? Let us know.
So, birdie is... I'm actually really looking forward to our shoot on Friday. Hopefully the weather's good. And then play a few holes with the boys. Have you checked the weather? What's the weather looking like? Is it looking all right?
Good.
Yeah, nice. But I'm looking forward to doing that because it's always a good laugh on the shoots. Getting a few cheeky holes in after the shoot. My bogey is I'm probably hopefully never going to play golf again hungover because I usually don't get hangovers, but my God, I was. It was one of those moments where I was driving to the course on Saturday morning, windows down, no music, just focusing on the road ahead, and being like, "Please don't die." We got there, and I mean, to be fair, I was really worried about the first tee shot, especially because there's loads of people around there, and the first tee shot at Manning's Heath is very like you're on show to the world, but absolutely drilled one straight down the middle. Even though I overheard Alex go, "Oh, that's a swing of a 28 handicapper, isn't it?" As a little joke, and I was like, "Yeah, too right." To be fair, I was hitting them some all right balls, but there was a stage where it kind of hit me a bit, and I was like making silly errors, and I wasn't really feeling it. So yeah, I recommend not playing golf hungover. That's my bogey for everyone listening. Although it is fun because you can just blame your worst game on that, so that's fine by me. But yeah, that's me. Done.
Solid. Johnny, give us your birdies and bogeys of the week gone and coming up.
Birdie of the week. I tried to play 18 holes on my own when I had a morning off last week. And the course was incredibly backed up. So I ended up playing with someone I'd never met before. He was also a single playing in front of me, a guy called Jake. And we played about 3 holes together, which was quite nice. Don't typically do that, like group up with people, but he was a really nice bloke. So I think it's always nice to meet new friends on the golf course. So I'm going to put that down as my birdie.
I love
and
that.
My bogey. My bogey, I guess, kind of comes in the same round, paying for 18 holes and only being able to play 9 because it was so slow. That was quite frustrating. There was about 6 or 7 4 balls in front of me when typically the course on a Thursday at 11 o'clock during the day is completely empty. So that was a bit of a kick in the nuts. But yeah,
Did they say to you before? Did they say to you before, like, you paid and stuff? Oh, by the way, it's busy. Rah rah rah. Because
not really, because there was like a 1 ball in front of me, a 2 ball in front of him, and then it was all 4 balls. So like, it's what it is. It was a pretty cheap round of golf anyway, so I wasn't super fussed. But it's still a bit frustrating when you want to you think you're gonna have like complete reign of the course, you can do whatever you want, just drop a couple of balls down, hit some practice shots. But sadly, it wasn't to be.
Maybe next
week.
Week.
I love that. Love your birdie. That's
Maybe
cool.
next week.
Beating people on the course.
What's mine? Birdie. What did I do? I played well on the back 9 last week. I had a bit of a stinker front 9, not awful, like 6 over, which is pretty poor. But then I hit some really, because I'm still going through some swing changes. I hit some really nice shots just going into the back 9. Not the best ball striking. There were a few that were a little bit, maybe a little thin, like millimeters and stuff, but they were still going to like. My proximity to the hole for the back 9 up until 17 was probably the best I've ever been. It was probably about 15 foot or so. Birdied one of the hardest holes in the course. Birdied par 5. Was sat there being like, oh my god, I'm 2 under so far in the back 9. Then was 10 foot on 13, 15 foot on 14. 10 foot on 16, so I really could have been 4 or 5 under. Bogey of the week is I was then sat 2 under on the par 5 on 17, 500 yard par 5 downwind, 2 fairways to choose from. I know I hit a draw, so I was like, I'm going to aim right side of the 17th fairway, and I pulled it straight into the trees on the left, which is the one place you don't go. I reckon that would have been a 350 yard drive as well. Absolutely bombed, didn't find it, made double, and then shot even par on the back 9, which is still very good. But like mentally, what I was saying to something I said to you Will, I was like, I don't get how pros can come back from that, because I was with Brooks. He made double, I think, with a mud ball at the PGA Championship. They went like birdie, par birdie or something. If I make a double, despite still being even par on the back 9, I'm like, I absolutely hate this sport. So that kind of shows that my mental game probably needs a little bit of work. I'm playing this weekend though. We've got a big tournament this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So let's hope that we play some good golf. Bank holiday weekend for us over here in the UK. For everyone listening and watching again, let us know if you're playing golf. Let us know how it goes this weekend for you. We'll be back next week to talk about all things golf and touch on some wonderful subjects. That's been us though, myself, Alex Lodge, Will Ward and Johnny Percival. That has been the Par FORE or Par FORE podcast. Don't know why I said it like that. Who knows why.
I'm wrong with me.
That was a bit strange, but either way, we will see you guys all next week. Thanks for listening.